بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد قال الله تعالى في القرآن المجيد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يوم تبدل الأرض غير الأرض والسماوات وقال تعالى وهم من فزع يومئذ آمنون وقال تعالى ولا تحسبن الله غافلا عما يعمل الظالمون إنما يؤخرهم ليوم تشخص فيه الأبصار مهطعين مقرعي رؤوسهم لا يرتد إليهم طرفهم وأفئدتهم هواء. Previously what we covered in the Qiyamah series was regarding the people that will be resurrected, who will be the first to be resurrected, what kind of certain groups will be resurrected. Some of them will be in a positive manner, some will be in a negative manner. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes those people that will be resurrected in different types. And continuing on with this, we mentioned regarding how even the animals will also be resurrected, and then justice will be meted out for those people who are animals as well. So it's for those animals as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions regarding that some of them will be resurrected, but some of their senses will be taken away from them. Yani, just like we have senses in this world, right? We have the sense of hearing, we have the sense of, we have hearing, we have the sight, we have the touch and so forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions here, some will be resurrected in such a way where they're deaf, they're dumb and they're blind. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions Surah Isra, يُحْشَرُونَ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ سُمًّا وَبُكْمًا وَعُمْيًا. Yani they will be resurrected, the hashr will be taking place. They'll be coming out of their graves. And ala wujuhihim, yani upon their faces. So this like they're going to be walking upside down on their faces. And then they will be deaf, dumb and blind, meaning they won't be able to hear, they won't be able to understand things, and they won't be able to see as well. So these are some of the things that will happen on the day of judgment to those people. Allah then mentioned in Surah Taha as well, وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى قَالَ رَبِّ لِمَ حَشَرْتَنِي أَعْمَى وَقَدْ كُنْتُ بَصِيرًا قال كذلك أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها وكذلك اليوم تنسى. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Taha as well, وَنَحْشُرُهُ, we also will be resurrecting him as well, يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, on the day of judgment. Yani they'll be blind on the day of judgment. They'll be blind on the day of judgment. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions regarding, just like how they'll be they can see on the day in the dunya, they will be not able to, they won't be able to see on the day of judgment. A'ma. So they'll say, قال ربي لما حشرتني أعمى. Yani they'll say, why have you made us hashr? The hashr is happening. Why have you resurrected me? أعمى, blind. وقد كنت بصيرا, but we can see. In the dunya we could see everything. قال كذلك, this is how it happened, that when أتتك آياتنا فنسيتها, when the ayat came to you and then you forgot it. وَكَذَلِكَ الْيَوْمَ تُنْسَى, then on this day we'll forget you as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deals with those people with different senses on that day as well. So this is how it happens. But a question arises. Everyone on that day will see Jahannam. Jahannam will be brought forth and everybody without fail will see Jahannam. But these guys are blind. So what happens to these guys? Will they be able to see Jahannam? Because they're blind, or what will happen on that day? So this is a question that comes about. Ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma mentions regarding that the day of judgment will be a long day. It will be a very long day. And many stations will happen on that day. So one part after another part, stage after stage after stage. So at one time they will not speak, and another time they will speak. At one time they will swear, they will swear, take an oath, they'll take a qasam, and deny another time, and their bodies will deny and testify. One time they'll be blind, another time they won't be blind. So there'll be different stations on the day of judgment. One time they'll be doing this, one time they'll be doing that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they're blind, and they'll be resurrected blind, but then they'll be given sight back at certain stations at certain different times as well. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions regarding these things will happen on the day of judgment. So that day can feel like multiple lifetimes. That's how long it will be. Multiple lifetimes it will happen. So on that day people will be resurrected and recognize the prophets as well. That day you will recognize the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. He mentions here that the people will go to Adam alayhi salam, they'll go to Nuh alayhi salam, Ibrahim. How would you know how Adam looks like? How would you know like Nuh alayhi salam looks? How would you know Ibrahim looks like? How would you know these things? You don't know these things. You don't know how they look like. So now it's to realize all these different things. How do you know? People will know on the day, and inshallah in the future we'll cover all these different things. We'll cover those parts where this whole hadith mentioned regarding this. I'll cover it. Let's go on towards regarding the land. So the gathering area where a person gathers, there's a certain piece of land there. So what is the mawqif? So what is this mawqif? What is the land of the Day of Judgment?
That's a question.
1 second. So inshallah, the mawqif. So the mawqif is the land. What is the plane of resurrection? You know, the land, what we're going to be standing on. So these are some of the things that will be talked about. So Surah Ibrahim, it mentions يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرُ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, on that day I will substitute the earth that we have for another one. I will substitute the earth that we have for another one. غَيْرُ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتِ. And also the skies as well. I'll substitute it. So what we have now, the earth and the mountains and everything like that, completely different on the Day of Judgment. Completely different. What will it be? So Imam Bukhari mentions in this compilation of hadith that Allah will roll up the earth. Allah will roll up the earth and roll up the heavens in His right hand. Roll up the heavens in His right hand. And He will mention, I am the king. Where are the kings of this world? Because I am the king. Where are the kings of this world? So He'll roll up the whole heavens and the earth just in His right hand. Another hadith mentions in Bukhari, mentions here the people should be resurrected on Qiyamah, on a land that is pure white. So pure white land, unblemished. It's got no kind of any blemishment on it. It's like sifted wheat, like that kind of sifted wheat that you have, very soft and something. It's like this. And then the flat land is not going to be having any hills or markings to tell one part than another. Sometimes if you're lost, what do you see? You say, look around you, what do you see? I see a tree, or I see a mountain, or I see this marker, or I see that marker. On the Day of Judgment there's been no markers. I'm next to this mountain, or I'm next to this tree. You can't say this, you can't do this. There will be nothing like this, completely flat all the way until the end. The Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala mentioned also regarding there will be flat land, pure, some say silver. It's like silver. And there will be no sin that's been done upon this land ever before. So the land stretches as far as one can see. So as far as you can see, this is the land of the Day of Judgment. And there will be no marking in no hill and so forth. There will be no flagging at that time. Another hadith mentioned regarding this also mentioned in Bukhari and Muslim, that Allah will gather all of the creation on one land. The one who wants to call out will be heard. So what does this mean? Is that if you want to call out to somebody, you'll be able to call out and they can hear you. They can listen to you. The one who wants to see somebody will be able to see them. Remember, there'll be billions of people on that plane on that land, right? On the earth, on that land, there'll be billions of people. But you want to speak to someone, you'll be able to speak to them. You want to see somebody, you'll be able to see them. This is how it works. Even though there's billions of you, it's just how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made regarding the earth, the new earth that will be on the Day of Judgment. So you'll find who you want to find. Now, sometimes if someone's wronged you on that day, you'll find him. You can't hide. There's no hiding on the Day of Judgment. You're gonna find him. You're gonna find him. That's it. So that's how it works. That's how it'll be. Allah will make it such that a person can't hide on that day. He owes you money. He owes you money. Rasulullah sallallahu mentions another hadith here, and this hadith is to do with regarding the sun. So the sun is being mentioned. What happens to the sun on the Day of Judgment, and what role does it play? So the sun will come close to the earth on Qiyamah. It will come right close to us. So this is the new earth and the new sun as well. Everyone will be in a state of anxiety and fear. So everyone's really, literally, pouring sweat out on themselves. Allah then mentions the beautiful ayahs of the Quran, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ. Now don't you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unaware? You think Allah is unaware that what the wrongdoers are doing? You think Allah doesn't know what's happening on that day? إِنَّمَا يُؤَخِّرُهُمْ لِيَوْمٍ إِنَّمَا يُؤَخِّرُهُم. Don't worry, we'll delay it. We'll wait, make them wait. We'll make them wait and we'll delay. لِيَوْمٍ, for a day. تَشْخَصُ فِيهِ الْأَبْصَارِ where the eyes will be staring. It'll be almost like, you have eye popping. Your eyes are coming out of your sockets and there's no blinking involved. It's like that. That's how you'll be staring on the Day of Judgment. مُهْطِعِينَ Yani the outstretched necks. They'll be looking out. Do you know how you look out like this and you see what's going on? And you look really looking out like this. On the Day of Judgment, everyone will have مُهْطِعِينَ مُقْنِعِي رُؤُوسِهِمْ Their heads will be raised up. So it's like I have my neck out like this and my head raised up. That's what will be on the Day of Judgment. لَا يَرْتَدُّ إِلَيْهِمْ طَرْفُهُمْ The eyelids don't even move. No blinking. The eyelids don't even move like this. We're going to be like, the eyes is completely open all the time. وَأَفْئِدَتُهُمْ هَوَىٰ And they'll have hearts which is like empty hearts. They're like, what is going on? What's happening? This is the one of the descriptions mentioned in Surah Ibrahim. Another description mentioned in Surah Nisa as well. And he mentions here, يَوْمَئِذٍ يَوَدُّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا وَعَصَوُا الرَّسُولَ لَوْ تُسَوَّى بِهِمُ الْأَرْضِ وَلَا يَكْتُمُونَ اللَّهَ حَدِيثًا So he mentions here that on that day, the people who are the disbelievers, they will wish, the ones who rejected the Rasul, rejected the Prophet, لَوْ تُسَوَّى بِهِمُ الْأَرْضِ They hope that the earth destroys them and swallows them up. وَلَا يَكْتُمُونَ اللَّهَ حَدِيثًا And they will be not conceal anything on that day. That's how it will be on the Day of Judgment. The earth that will be standing on, the mawqif that will be standing off, will be something like this. So I mentioned regarding the sun. So Imam Bukhari mentions a very famous hadith that the sun will come so close until it will be a distance until of a meal. So he mentions here meal. So meal in English it either means a mile. So in the hadith he mentions the descriptions. The Sahabi saying, I don't know if this meal means so a meal. Another meaning of a meal means those the small little stick that you have to put the kuhl. What do you call this? Kuhl, right? I'm not sure it's in English. Where you get the little marker and you put the thing on the eyes. The sulma, yeah. So the sulma. So then the little stick there. In Arabic it's called meal. So how big is it, right? This much. So they said that the Sahabi mentioning that I don't know if it means this or it means meal, but they don't know what meal means as a metric measure. They only know what this means. So most likely they meant it's only going to be this close to you. So does that mean that the sun will come down in distance of a meal? Whether that means this one or that one. A proper meal like an English one, mile, or something further or closer than that. And the people will be sweating according to their deeds. So how pious they were, no sweat. If they're sinful, then more sweat. And then Rasulullah explains that some will be sweating until their ankles. Because of how much of the sins they've done, they'll be sweating until their ankles. Some will be sweating until their shins. That's how much sins they have done. Some will be sweating until their chest. And some will be sweating and drowning. And he makes a sign here to say like they'll be drowning in their own sweat. According to the sins that a person has done, they'll be drowning accordingly. But there'll be safety mechanisms on that day, don't worry. There'll be safety mechanisms. Allah mentions inside the Quran, وَهُمْ مِنْ فَزَعِي يَوْمَئِذٍ آمِنُونَ On that day when there's so much things happening to people, the righteous, they'll be aman. They'll have safety. They'll be freed and they'll be safe from all of these things. So safety mechanisms are there for those people that are doing good and be righteous as well. Now another question comes about is how long is the Day of Judgment? How long is the Day of Judgment? We have a few different ayats of the Quran that mention different things. So how long is the Day of Judgment? We'll cover this now. This is the last thing we'll cover before the iftar inshallah. So Allah mentions ayat of the Quran in Surah Hajj, وَإِنَّ يَوْمًا عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ كَأَلْفِ سَنَةٍ مِمَّا تَعُدُّونَ And on that day, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be like 1,000 years, 1,000 years of your years, as in the English, the dunya years, 1,000 years. But whether that's got to do with Qiyamah or not, it's a different concept. Remember this time in itself. We say that time is makhluk. Time has been created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is outside of time. Time is a creation of Allah. Time is a creation. We are inside of the creation of Allah. We are inside of the time. That's how we go by time. But Allah is outside of the time. So on that day, Allah can decide how long each one works. Whether it's to do with our dunya years or whether it's to do with something else, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. So in this ayat of the Quran, Surah Ma'arij, it mentions تَعْرُجُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ وَالْرُوحُ إِلَيْهِ فِي يَوْمٍ كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ 50,000 سَنَةً He mentions here that the malaika, the angels will come, and Jibreel alayhi salam will come on such a day such a day where its length is 50,000 years. How long? 50,000 years, whether that's dunya years or whether it's something else. Another one which Surah Sajda mentions here, كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ مِمَّا تَعُدُّونَ. In the different ayat of the Quran, Allah mentions it's to do with 1,000 years. 1,000 years. So you got 50,000 years, then you have 1,000 years. Which one will it be? Is it 1,000 years long? Is it 50,000 years long? So there's different kind of interpretations regarding how long Qiyamah would be. Some say 1,000 actual years. It may feel like 50,000, but it's actually 1,000 years, but it feels like 50,000 years. This is a valid interpretation. Only 1,000 years long, but it feels like 50,000 years. Another interpretation is that 1,000 is for one group and 50,000 for the another group. So the perceivement of Qiyamah will be longer for some. Will be longer for some. So example, and he mentions here that Allah mentions وَكَانَ يَوْمًا عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ عَسِيرًا. For the people, the kafirin on that day will be very difficult. فَذَلِكَ يَوْمٌ عَسِيرٌ. Another ayat, عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ غَيْرُ يَسِيرٌ. For the people, the kafirin, the disbelievers, it will be a difficult day. It won't be easy. So why did Allah say غَيْرُ يَسِيرٌ? It's not easy. That means there'll be some ease on that day. But for the kafirin, no, not easy. For the rest of us, it'll be easy. It'll be ease. So how would it be easy for him, and what will happen regarding those people here? Allah mentions here, Rasulullah mentions in Musnad Imam Ahmad, this narration is mentioned that it's easy for him like a length of a farz salah. Just like how you pray your farz salah, it takes 5-10 minutes or so. That's how long the mu'min will feel like his day of judgment will last. It may look long, it may be for 1,000 years, but he'll only feel like it's only for 10 minutes. Another one will be between Asr and Maghrib Salah. So how long was Asr and Maghrib? An hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours. That's how long Qiyamah will be for the mu'min. Very short. It may seem like it may be 1,000 years, but for them it's just like this. Oh, that went fast. That went quick. So that's how it will be. So the perceivement of the Day of Judgment might be 1,000, it might be 50,000 years for some, but for the mu'min it will be short and quick. And I'll finish on this, that it mentions in Bukhari and Muslim, it mentioned this hadith that anyone who owns gold and silver and does not pay the zakat on it, the zakat will be turned into fire that will be used to burn him. And in the hadith he mentions here, في يوم كان مقداره 50,000 سنة. So even Rasulullah sallallahu mentions is 50,000 years long. But for those people that don't give their zakat and don't give their gold and silver and so forth, that will be used to use you to burn you on the Day of Judgment or in the fire of Jahannam. So that's something which is very scary for some. So here we find that on that day, if you do in the dunya, it directly affects what's going to happen in the akhirah. It will directly affect you. So example, you have certain things that will directly affect you. If you do good actions, Allah say, I'll help you out on the Day of Judgment. Very famous example is if a person realizes that someone is in difficulty and he alleviates the person's difficulty in this dunya, Allah will make it and alleviate his own difficulties in this dunya and in the akhirah. Meaning Allah will call you on the Day of Judgment. He'll call you on the Day of Judgment and say, look, that person that you helped out, he was in difficulty, he was my slave, he was in difficulty, you helped him out of a problem, I will help you out of the problem on the Day of Judgment. So there you directly, those things that will happen in this dunya, you can directly you'll have an effect on what's going to happen on the Day of Judgment. So living a life of piety, living a life of righteousness, what will directly have a good effect on the person in Qiyamah, on the Day of Judgment. So these all of the different things that we're learning about is to increase our iman. It's yu'minuna bil ghaib. We have iman in the unseen. So increase ourselves in the unseen is to try and prepare ourselves for the Day of Judgment, to motivate ourselves on the Day of Judgment. Many people ask, وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. When's that day coming if you're really truthful? وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ السَّاعَةِ. They ask so many times, when is this time coming? When is it? And they're mocking him, they're joking him. And even Sahaba asking very sincerely, they're saying, when is this day coming? When is it? So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he replies, مَا أَعْتَدْتَ لَهَا. He didn't give an answer. He asked a question, said, what have you prepared for it? What have you done? So this is a question to try and reflect upon at the end, inshallah. We only got a few minutes left, so we'll make a dua, inshallah. And then we'll go towards whenever the call is, we'll go towards, inshallah, the tent. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب القبر وقنا عذاب الحشر وقنا عذاب الدين وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. Ya Allah, Ya Hayy Ya Qayyum, Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram, bi rahmatika nastaghith. Ya Allah, on the day of judgment, Ya Allah, protect us. Ya Allah, make it such that hisab becomes hisaban yasira, an easy hisab. Ya Allah, make it such that the Qiyamah lasts as long as a time for fard salah. Ya Allah, make us successful on the day of judgment. Ya Allah, make us be prepared for that day of judgment. Ya Allah, for whatever we are doing in this dunya, Ya Allah, put sincerity inside of our hearts. Accept all of our du'as, accept all our worship, accept our siyam and our qiyam, our fasting and our standing in the night time. Ya Allah, accept our sacrifices that we are doing in this dunya. Ya Allah, put sincerity inside of our hearts. Ya Allah, accept us, whatever we are doing, Ya Allah. It's not perfect, Ya Allah, but still forgive all of our sins, our major sins, our minor sins, Ya Allah. Keep us on the guidance, keep us on the sirat mustaqim, keep us on everything which is the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ya Allah, protect us from all the fitnas out there. Ya Allah, protect us from all the different evils and difficulties out there. Ya Allah, make us such that now you are happy with us in this dunya. Be happy with us in the akhirah. Ya Allah, make us meet you. Ya Allah, make us meet you in such a condition where you are happy with us and we are happy with you. Ya Allah, make us prepare for that day of judgment. Ya Allah, and make us successful and our end goal be Jannah. Ya Allah, make us not go through Jahannam and all of the terrors and terrifying horrors of the day of judgment. Ya Allah, make it such that now we are successful in this dunya and successful in the akhirah. Allahumma inni as'aluka min khayri ma sa'alaka minhu nabiyyuka Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa a'udhu bika min sharri ma sta'adha minhu nabiyyuka Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa anta al-musta'an wa alayka al-balagh wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-'aliyyil 'azim. Subhana rabbika rabbil 'izzati 'amma yasifun wa salamun 'ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil 'alamin. Ameen. Inshallah, everyone can make their way to the tent, inshallah, at the back.